Recording. All right, good morning, guys. Today's March the 30th, and as usual, we'll be going over analysis for US 30, gold, and EU. So yesterday we took three trades. One US 30 went straight. It was a straight win for 50 pips, so a return of 0.375. The second EU sell we took was a win as well, for a return of 20 pips. So that was with a risk of 0.5%. So at that point, we were up 0.875% for the day. However, we did take an L on US 30. The last trade we marked up before the session ended, and the one we are waiting for. So I might hold off on this strategy right here until I test it more. The idea behind the entry was in this candle right here that closed below the 9 EMA. So we hadn't had on the hourly, we hadn't, and of course we don't trade the first 5 minutes of New York. So let's just wait for the session to calm down. But I do see us getting some nice trades today, especially on US 30 and possibly EU. But anyway, when I reanalyzed the trade, it was ideally in the hourly time frame. For the last couple of hours, US 30 had not closed below the 9 EMA. So ideally for this particular strategy, what you want to see is after a trend to the upside or to the downside, you want to see a candle close either above or so if you're looking for, if it's been in a downtrend, you want to see the candle close above on the hourly, and then you enter on the retest of the 9 EMA on the hourly. In this case, it was an uptrend. So we were looking for, and let me turn off all this signals, because again, I don't like trading with signals on my charts. But that's our what is it called? That's our indicator. But anyway, so here we were in an uptrend, and then we had this candle, the 11 AM candle closed below the 9 EMA, and then we entered the sell on the retest of the 9 EMA. So price did, so for this one, for this particular strategy, I did say to use a big stop loss, a bigger one, because our stop loss is normally 50 pips for US 30. So for this one, I did say to use 100 pips stop loss. So initially the trade came same as what happened the day before. The trade came to like 70 pips stop drawdown, and then came back down to break even, right? Because you had this candle and then it broke back below, came to break even. Unfortunately, the next candle went all the way up, and with the next hourly candle took us out of the trade. So for these trades, I may lay off on them for a while as I do a little bit more testing. But other than that loss right there for this strategy, the previous day we did the same. We had a little bit of drawdown because we entered a sell around here. The trade, no, maybe it wasn't this. Yeah, I think it was this candle. The trade went against us for like 70 pips in drawdown and came back and hit take profit like automatically. But just by back testing that previous strategy, it's definitely had more wins than losses, especially after a trend. But I might just hold off on asking you guys to take that trade, especially. So here's another thing about that trade. If it's the time that it happens, right? So it doesn't always happen at 11, at the close of the 11 or the 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. candle. So the issue with that trade showing up at the 11 a.m. candle is that you normally have a lot of manipulation or manipulated moves at around 11, because between 11 a.m. Eastern time and 1 p.m. Eastern time, that's around when institutional traders go for their lunch breaks or whatnot, or the market just comes down. So mostly you just have a lot of consolidation during 11 to 1, mostly for especially these volatile assets. So I might just hold off on asking you guys to, especially if we normally get that trade at 11. The other thing, so for yesterday, personally, I did risk all my day's trade. So I was already up like 0.8 for the day, but I ended up risking my whole profits. But even for this trade and the day before, I did say, if we've had back-to-back wins during the live session, do not risk your full, unless you're willing to, do not risk your full day's profits, especially with an 11 a.m. Trade. So right now it is 9:35. We can start looking for trades. I do see a sell on US 30. Keep in mind, we've been in a crazy trend to the upside. Here's the other thing, right? When your trade hits stop loss, let it hit stop loss, right? Because our stop loss got hit here. So if I redraw this, short position, our short position was here, the one that hit stop loss. So this just shows you like I mean, the trade was a valid trade based on that one strategy. I don't have any regrets for calling that trade. The issue is, and I can see my older version or younger version when I first started trading, when the trade was coming back around or going around stop loss, what I would do, I would keep pushing the stop loss up. And then guess what? I see price coming back down, and then maybe I go to sleep and extend my stop loss, or actually take off my stop loss, so that because I can see the downtrend coming, and then I just hope that the price will come back and either take me out at break even or hit profit. So when you take the stop loss out, or if you keep extending this stop loss, guess what? You would have been in drawdown. So instead of like here losing 0.5, I think the risk for this trade was 0.5%. So instead of losing 0.5%, you end up either blowing your account or losing literally like 5% of your account. So when you trade, and the way I teach you guys how to trade, I always have a stop loss. I've never entered any trade in this live session when I don't give any stop loss or take profit. So when a trade hits stop loss, remember, you're not going to win every time. So just let it do what it's going to do, and then wait for the next trade. So what I'll do here for US 30, I'll first take off this drawings for now. But you guys did see we are in a supply zone within a supply zone. So I do expect a sell on US 30 for now. And I do expect US 30 to retest the 9 EMA right here on the hourly. So what I'll do here, I did say that I draw trend lines. The only time I draw trend lines, or all my trend lines are on trading are on MT4. But right here, on trading view, I'll be drawing the trend lines, any trend lines created before. Well, I can't hide the drawings and do that. I'll be drawing the trend lines on the 5-minute created 2 to 3 hours before the New York session starts. So what I'll do this here. We really don't have a trend line to the upside. We ideally have 2 equal highs. So I'm still looking for a sell. So this is a higher high. I anticipate a lower high to be created. So long as US 30 does not waterfall from here, I do expect US 30 to bounce from this trend line and come back up and establish a lower high somewhere around this zone. So it will coincide with this supply zone within a supply zone. So this is just a matter of patience. So I do expect US 30 to bounce back up. So right now, US 30 is definitely bearish. Gold is bearish, EU is bullish. So EU has been heavily bullish. That when we do get that sell on EU, it's going to be an amazing sell. So same as gold, right? I am bearish on gold, and you can see these markups that I definitely sent in the group, right? So I sent like gold markups for today. And guess what, gold came all the way to 1975. Is it 1975? Yep. No, it hasn't come back up there. So we have all this liquidity zones right here. So we have a supply zone within a supply zone, a supply zone within a supply zone here. So we have nothing but sell zones up there. We also have an hourly bearish high and bearish low. So this would be a good sell zone for gold. So what I'll do for gold here, let me try and get a trend line on the 5-minute. I really don't see a clear trend line on the 5-minute. So we'll just have to wait for that. So this is just a matter of patience. When we do get a trade, we will get an amazing trade. So this is one of those days I may even go for a 1% risk for any trade we get. When we do get a trade for EU, it will be an amazing sell. So you can see we've ran through all this supply zones in EU. So here, if I do get a closure below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute for EU, since our stop loss for EU is what, 20 pips, so 160, so stop loss would ideally be around 360. So if I do get a sell, either a sell signal or a closure below the 9 EMA and a retest of the 9 EMA and closure below, I will sell EU at that point. And I do have the alert set to let me know when EU crosses the 9 EMA to the bottom. So EU will definitely be a good trade. I do expect US 30 to come back up, create a lower low to allow us, and there you go, to allow us to create, to create a lower high to allow us to create a trend line. So for right now, this trend line right here is a hanging trend line. So I do expect US 30 to come somewhere in here. One other thing, let me go over something on the signals that also Audrey and I were talking about this morning. So here's the thing, right? We did get, before New York opened, we did get a sell signal on gold, on US 30 down here on the 5-minute time frame. And by signals, I mean they're in this one right here. So we did get, let's count, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? The other thing, all these signals before this, I had like 6 back-to-back wins on the signals. Let's see. So I do have an account that's taking all those signals back-to-back. But you see, before those US 30 signals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back-to-back signals that had a win. Now here again, I've gone over this previously, but for those of you who are new, and I will also create a video, this is how you deal with the signals. So so this account enters the signals automatically, right? Whether I'm asleep, whether I'm awake, I just let it do what it's gonna do. Of course, it's automated, so there's no confluence. So you can still make money by entering signals on impulse. That is meaning not waiting for the retest of the 9 EMA. However, let's see. For this, let me hide this. I don't know if there's a way to lock. Give me 1 second. I probably need to figure out if there's a way to get rid of these shaded areas and still leave the position open. But for now, we'll just have to deal with that. Oh, wait, actually, never mind. What I'll do, to be honest, I don't have to mark it up. I can just show you guys visually. So we did get a sell signal right here on US 30. Stop loss was 50 pips. Take profit was 50 pips. What happened? US 30 came back up, stopped out on that position. We got a buy up here for US 30, take profit 50, stop loss 50 pips. Guess what? US 30 came back down, faked out, right? So those two signals hit stop loss, right? I think we got another sell down here. US 30 came sell. This is 84. I don't know if this one hit. So this one did not hit stop loss because I'm still in that position. So it would have entered at 30, and because I'm still in that position now, 32,880. Stop loss of 50 pips is 32,930. So US 30 did not, that position just survived. But these two positions right here, they were back to back. So they did hit stop loss. However, if you are trading on like if you're on the chart and you're not entering the signals on impulse, guess what you do, right? You wait for the retest of the 9 EMA on that time frame. So these signals were 5-minute signals, right? So when you got this sell here, instead of entering on impulse, literally wait for the retest of the 9 EMA here, right? So in this case, let's see if you'd have survived. So entry, so you don't even have to wait for the closure above or below for this particular strategy of entering the signals. Just wait for the touch of the 9 EMA, and then at that point, enter on impulse. So you could have saved yourself, this is 93, you could have saved yourself 20 pips. Keep in mind, our stop loss is 50 pips for US 30. Saving yourself half of that is amazing, right? So 20 pips, you entered 32,890. Your stop loss would be 32,940. There you go. You'd have survived this trade and the trade would be back running. Now, this particular trade for a buy, so here you've already, keep in mind, would have had two back-to-back trades if you entered on impulse. But if you're waiting and going to the charts and waiting for a retest, you saved yourself this one loss and the trade would be back in profit, and actually 77 to, yeah, so it would be running. So this particular trade right here, this buy, let's see what happens if you waited for the retest of the 9 EMA. So instead of entering here, you wait for the retest of the 9 EMA. 902, your stop loss would be around 32,850. So this trade, either way, whether you entered on impulse or whether you waited for the confluence, you would have still gotten taken out at stop loss. But guess what? In this case, and then we got another sell right here, which you entered, you waited for the retest of the 9 EMA, and then this trade would have just hit profit right now. 97 minus 50 is 47. So guess what? Just by waiting on confluences, instead of having 2 losses from 5 US 30 trades, signals sent out, you have 1 loss. Wait, let me count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Yeah, wait. First trade, second trade, third trade. Yeah. So from 3 signals here sent out, instead of having 2 losing ones, you only have 1 losing one just by waiting for the confluence. So you would have been up 100 pips on US 30 already, right? Because if you entered on impulse here, you'd have been down 50 pips. Here you'd have been down 50 pips, and here you'd have just gained 50 pips. So right here, just by entering on impulse, you'd be negative 50 pips. But waiting for a confluence, right here, you'd still be up about, so this one you'd be down minus 50 pips. This one you'd be up 50 pips. So this one cancels out that trade. And this original trade would still ideally be running. So instead of being negative 50 pips, you'd be positive 50 pips just by waiting for a confluence. So that is how to deal with the signals. The other thing, so I don't have any signals that come for US 30 and gold on the 15-minute time frame. And this is because by backtesting, I found that the 15-minute time frame on gold and US 30 doesn't have too high of a or doesn't have too good of a win rate using the 50, because our stop loss for gold and US 30 for the signals is 50 pips. So it doesn't have that high of a win rate. So the other option I could do, I can definitely code those signals in so that you guys receive them. But I think what I'll do for the 15-minute signals for US 30, so we do have 15-minute signals for the pairs, right? And if you guys want to see more signals for other pairs, because right now I only have EU, AU, and GJ. So if you guys trade other pairs that you want to see signals for, please let me know. So I will code in 15-minute signals for US 30 and gold. But what I'll do, instead of having a 50-50 take profit and stop loss, I'll have 100 pips take profit and 100 pips stop loss, because on a 15-minute candle, the 50 pip stop loss can easily be decimated. And especially keep in mind, for the 15-minute is the same thing, right? You need to wait, and that's fine. Let US 30 keep dropping. I'm still waiting for EU. So we might actually be able to catch EU. So for US 30, a 15-minute candle, like, okay, so let's see. So let's assume we had a sell on US 30 for the 15-minute time frame here. And then we have a 50 pip stop loss. So if we are to wait for ideally our confluence is to wait for the retest of the 9 EMA. Let us see, using the 15-minute time frame, the difference in pips between between when that signal was fired. So this candle is at 853, 32,853. The 9 EMA is at 32,879. So that is about a 30 pip zone. And keep in mind, you always don't get a perfect retest and rejection. Sometimes the retest comes up and breaks above. So just by the retest of the candle itself, so if we had a sell signal here and somebody decided to enter on impulse with a 50-50, TP and stop loss, you can easily get faked out or taken out. So what I'll do for the 15-minute signals for US 30 and gold, I will create them, but you guys have 100 pips take profit and 100 pips stop loss. Yeah. Because but for me, definitely the 5-minute signals for me have not been an issue. But just to bring more people in, because I know different people trade different time frames. I will code in those signals for US 30 and gold for the 15-minute time frame, but then the stop loss and take profit for them will be 100 pips take profit, 100 pips stop loss, as opposed to 50-50. So let's see what's happening here. So still, no, that's the 15-minute. I will take off the drawings for now. So let US 30 keep going down. That's fine. I think our best bet today is EU. So if we do get, and I love the price action today. I've definitely seen other people try to just catch US 30 sells, ideally since yesterday in Asia session. But I love this sessions. I love this trend. And I told you guys, like when we get this one trend, and actually in any case, right here, you should have just focused on the sell signal for US 30 on the 5-minute, because US 30 has literally been trending for the last couple of hours. So instead of even taking a buy up here, you should have just been focused on this particular sell signal that fired on US 30. So sometimes these signals, it literally also needs you to just analyze it by yourself and not just hop in. So I'm still waiting, and you can see it's testing that trend line out to the bottom. So I'm still waiting for US 30 to come back up and pick liquidity. We definitely have a death cross forming on the 5-minute. So you can see the 9 EMA is approaching the 200. So I do expect US 30 to do something like this. So this is ideally a patience game. And today I will be going for a bigger so this right here would be the sell. So this is what I am expecting. So long as this trend line holds, that's what I'm expecting for US 30. So let's just see how that's gonna, and guess what? This is gonna work out so well because price is going to be in a supply zone within a supply zone. Now, if US 30 does break that, let's see where we are likely to head to. So we do have the next supply zone around 33,200 area, but keep in mind we don't have any markups. So this whole week we haven't had any markups. Price being around any markups, order blocks for US 30. The next markups are this 15-minute bearish and bullish zones, but this zone we are in. So this whole week we've only been trading with trend lines and high-low areas, same as gold, and same, at least gold today. Gold had an hourly bearish low up here. So at least gold, it's close to some markups. EU the same. So EU does not have any markups. Even at the very top, there's nothing for EU. So if EU breaks this supply zones within a supply zone, EU is likely headed to 1.1 area. So yeah, but I'm definitely looking for a sell here. We just need a 5-minute candle to close below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. Then we need another 5-minute candle to retest the 9 EMA and close below. And at that point, I will be selling EU. So for me, this signal just hit take profit. So let's see if this trend line is going to hold. Now is the best time. If you guys have any questions, now is the best time to ask them. Keep in mind, I've definitely seen a lot of people just having issues with trading today. So actually today, if you just end up with the day at break even, you've done much better than a lot of people, because there's been a lot of people have just been seeing trying to catch this whole sell from yesterday for US 30, trying to catch the sell for EU, but they've just been getting burnt. So this is literally a patience game. But when we do get this sell on EU, especially also on the 15-minute, this will be an amazing sell. So yeah, so if anybody has any questions, now is the time to ask those questions as we wait for those trades. And hopefully I haven't been muted this whole time. I will change this trend line to be this way.
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the senior. Is it possible, like to you said that you automated everything so that your senior go straight to your account. Is that correct?
Yes.
You are using a EA?
wait, let me think about this. No, so I have a Telegram. So I have a Telegram group. So this is just mine for right now for testing. So what I have a Telegram group, and then I have a Telegram copier. So it's not mine, of course, but there's I think 2 Telegram copiers. I will make that Telegram group available much later. But if anybody uses Telegram right now, I can add you guys to the group. But keep in mind this signals after 2 weeks, the signals, the indicators, and what else did I say? Signals, indicators, and direct access to my charts, because I can definitely like here share my chart with anybody I want and give a link to them. So keep in mind this access will only be currently for trial period. It will end when April 9th. So those are the only things I started charging for. Everything else will remain free. Free live trading session, free access to the Discord, and everything. But anyway, so I do have, so if you do have a Telegram, I can add you to that group. Yeah, so ideally what I have a Telegram that also these signals are going, and then there's Telegram copiers out there. Personally, I use this one that says Telegram copier. I think it's $100 lifetime for 2 accounts. So let's see, lifetime 1 MT4. So this is the one I have. Actually, it's like $200 or something. You can buy for 1 MT4 account or MT5 account for $120. But yeah, so those are the plans. So this is the one I use. There's this other one, Telegram FX copier. I don't have that. I had read reviews about it, but for this one, let me see what the price is. I think the price for the other one was better. And it definitely works for me. So this one, 2 MT4 accounts or 2 MT5 accounts, it is about $249. For 1 account is just $179. So ideally what this one's, you just buy them and then install them on your computer, and then you link them to your to whatever Telegram signals or Telegram group you're getting the signals from, and then they definitely have coding inside to help you like with take profit, stop loss, and all of that. So this is what I use. So my signal, I've also scripted my signals to go to my Telegram group. So right now it's only I who has access to that Telegram group because I'm still testing. And then I have a Telegram copier installed locally on my computer. For me, I use this one. I install locally on my computer, and then it just receives a signal from Telegram and then automatically takes it on my MT4. So that's how I'm doing that. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. EU, so EU is a matter of waiting. So we have a trend line. So here we have an established high on the 5 minutes. So if we go on the 1 minute, we should have lower highs. Now, the only thing about this lower highs, like when you're drawing a trend line, you want it to be respected, right? So if I draw it this way, you can see that this one is getting rejected. So honestly, I'll draw it at this zone, at the next high zone right there. And then on the 5 minute, so on the 1 minute, this is a hanging trend line. On the 5 minute, this is also a hanging trend line. Unfortunately, today we are trading in a zone that has a lot of markups or a lot of shadings. If anybody knows, if I can hide this and just leave the trend line or the lines only, let me know, but I don't think I can, because the only options is to hide indicators, hide positions.
No, you can't. I already tried and you can't.
You can or you can't?
You can't.
Okay, yeah, because ideally the trend line is a drawing, and also whatever, because these are the zones I draw them by myself, so they're also drawings. Okay, so the 5 minute trend line on EU is a hanging trend line. Let me see my MT4. Okay. Yeah, so on the 1 minute, it's a hanging trend line. On the 5 minute, it's a hanging trend line as well. But what we are looking for here is a candle on the 5 minute to close below the 9 EMA, and then the next candle to retest the 9 EMA and close below. At that point, we'll be in a safe sell, because guess when was the last time that happened, right? After this push up, and I really wouldn't consider this a heavy trend. So that is gold. So so even though you want to consider this a trend, let's see how big this is. 399, So this was about 40 pips, so and so, right? So you got this time when it closed below, the next candle closed below, retested and closed below. You had a lot of consolidation. Price broke out, came back down and closed below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, again closed below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute. And then maybe that, so ideally this is the kind of setup we're looking for. But right now we literally broke through all these sell zones, and we ideally around the previous weekly high and around the last of the supply zones within a supply zone. And this distance is what is it? From when this happened, 7:59. So call that 8, 7, 8, 9. That is 20 pips. 0, 30 pips. Yeah, so around 50, 50-ish pips. So this is I mean, I want to see EU keep going up. Like I literally, even though we don't get a trade on the on the live session today, I'm telling you guys, when this closes below the 5-minute, whether it's during the live session or after the live session, we are going to have an amazing trade on EU. Gold is definitely making a golden cross. I'm sorry, a death cross right now, 9 EMA crossing the 200. Only thing with this trade is I need other confluences. I need a, let me see if I go to the 1-minute, if I can find an established trend line. So on the 1-minute, this is an established trend line. It's a weird trend line because we still have zones below it. But we do have this death cross forming. So for a sell on gold here, it will be a risky sell. I'm going to go in with a 0.5 risk for gold because I do anticipate. So ideally, the best place to sell gold would be a retest of the trend line or a retest of the 200 DMA. But ideally, of course, you're looking for the best place. So right here, gold is away from our zones. So we're just using the trend line for entry. So this is 50 pips stop loss, 50 pips take profit. The best thing about this trade, we have a death cross forming, and the zones below here are literally just bearish zones. We do have a demand zone here though. So I will take this trade when we get a retest of the 9 EMA. And that's how I'm gonna take that trade. Yeah, so everything should be set up for that. Do we have anything to the downside, a trend line to the downside? Or from the downside, probably this. So those will be the two trend lines to help our trades. Remember, for gold, no need for you to wait for an exact retest if the difference is only like 20 cents, because there's no need for you to like a 20-cent difference. 66,780. No. Yeah, this is about a 5. What is that? Not a 5 pip. 66. Yeah, and you don't either way. I'm gonna enter the sell, whether it's so no need for you to get left. Remember, the only trades I take are the ones that I'm expecting to count on the live. So the distance between this is, it's almost 10 pips difference, this little distance right here. So I'll just wait. But I do expect a sell or gold to push down when this death cross forms. And I forgot to turn on our little tool right here that shows us what zone we are in. So we're in a sell zone. Perfect. We're in a sell zone for gold because you can see this trend right here. We have a sell zone for gold. Another entry would be a retest of the top of this sell zone right here. So that's in our indicator, the high-low plus trend indicator. So I'll take that out. So that just also tells me that we are in a sell. So again, even for the signals, if you're in doubt, and everybody should have access to this indicator because I asked you guys to fill out the Google form, just turn on that indicator, turn on that setting in whatever time frame you're getting the signal at, and see if the trend or the zone you're in matches what the signal is giving you. And so I'm just waiting for this to come back up. I need a retest of, come on. I should have just entered there. I'm still waiting. Okay, and there's definitely it's testing previous support to the right. So honestly, I will just sell here. So I'm in that position, 50 pips stop loss, 50 pips take profit. For this trade, I did say I am risking 0.5% of my account. So let's keep analyzing, and there we go. That's what I love to see. US 30, I'm not sure US 30. So US 30 is also giving a death cross. But until US 30 comes, let's see what US 30, what zone US 30 is in right here. US 30 is in a, so look at that, US 30 came from a sell zone. So this particular setting, and I even for me, I actually forget about this setting in there. But you could have literally caught a US 30 because we did, and I told you guys right here, you should have just ignored the buy signal because we were in a heavy uptrend. And then if I take this off, like, okay, we were in a heavy uptrend in this whole zone, and then we got that sell signal, and then ideally literally you would have just waited for price to come back into the sell zone, and then you enter a sell inside that zone. So, and it also matched with a supply zone within a supply zone that we had. So there goes gold. Perfect trade, no drawdown trade. And I could have literally just missed that trade. Where are we at? Oh God, did I get a, oh, I'm about to get an alert for EU. So let's see the same thing for EU, right? What zone are we in for EU? I'm pretty sure we're in a sell zone. If I turn this on, come on, there we go. It's just getting into a sell zone. And guess what, right? What is likely to happen here? We are likely, so this candle is likely to close below the 9 EMA, which is what we've been waiting for. And then we are likely to retest the 9 EMA and close below the 9 EMA. So this is what's likely to happen in here. So if I get this, even though that shaded area is going to come close below, retest the 9 EMA, which is in accordance like in this sell zone, and then we get this move to the downside. Perfect. I told you guys today's gonna be an amazing day. I mean, I was excited for this trading day. I was like, let people keep trying to catch the sell or the buy. When we're on the live session, we are gonna catch. There you go, no drawdown trade, waiting for the retest of the trend line. This trade actually almost left without me. Hopefully you guys are in this trade. I will write this trade to take profit. Excuse me, the only issue with this trade, and this is another good thing about the trade, we are in a 30-minute bearish high and bearish low zone. Wait, what is, oh, no. I was looking for this. So we are in a sell zone. So I'm expecting a heavy push up to the downside here because we are in this sell zone. Easy money, right? Instead of, that's why I tell you guys, when a trade hits stop loss, let it hit stop loss. We'll always get an amazing trade. So we are in a sell zone. So I do expect liquidity in here. The only issue, I do expect price to bounce up from this slight demand zone in here. So at this point, you should secure either close half and set break even. So remember, our new strategy is to set break even at half profit. So in this particular trade, this trade should be at break even for everybody and let it just run risk free. So if you want, you can secure 50%. So let me see, what do I want to do? Personally, I will, so my trade is already at break even, but I need to consider what I want to do here. So you also need to see what is likely to happen. So this death cross is definitely forming. Price can still come back, grab liquidity from this demand zone and go up and retest the 9 EMA or retest the trend line, which is likely to maybe kick us out. So here's where you just do your math, right? So I risked 0.5% for this trade. Trying to see. So we got that alert on EU. Personally, I will close this trade out here. I will let this run, but personally, because yesterday I ended the day up at break even, but the only reason I closed is because we have a demand zone in here. But either way, for everybody, this trade should be at break even. We had zero drawdown on this trade. Literally, when I said I entered, I entered and price went all the way down. But if you're in a sell, keep holding the sell. You don't have to exit when I exit. For me, I just have different ways of how I want to make my daily target. But this is the best thing for a sell, right? We're in a sell zone, and I know EU just gave us an alert, so we need a retest of the 9 EMA and closure below. So let's just wait for that. The best thing about this gold trade, we have a death cross that literally just formed. We are actually in a supply zone, in a high time frame supply. Well, we're in a 30-minute and a 15-minute. I know I did say that I do not trade 30-minute and 15-minute zones, but I do not trade them if they're by themselves. So if a 30-minute bearish high is by itself, if a 30-minute bullish zone is by itself, I'm not gonna use it as a major confluence. But in this case, we have a 30-minute and a 15-minute bearish zones by themselves. And you can see if we zoom in, it's literally tested the 30-minute bearish high. So I was expecting them to pick up liquidity here for continuation to the downside. Now we do have this demand zone that's down here. So that's the only thing you need to be careful about, because our take profit is below the demand level. But for a sell, you should be golden for a sell on this zone. And you should be able to make 0.5% for the day. So there you go. EU, literally what I want. I want that retest. Now the question here is, do you get in early? Because you can either hop in on impulse or wait for the 5-minute candle to close. So in this case, honestly, it's better for us to wait for the 5-minute candle to close, because we already got our first confluence. We got a closure below the 9 EMA on the 5-minute, and then this next 5-minute is retesting the 9 EMA. So we just need this candle to close below here. Now for this particular trade, since we have a 20 pip stop loss, we might need to go for a bigger stop loss for EU, because we still have some supply zones to the upside that they can take price. So for this trade, let me see where 20 pips would be. So for this trade, I'm also risking 0.5%. So 20 pips take profit, 20 pips stop loss. So if we get filled in here, they can still come and pick up liquidity here and here. So honestly, maybe a 30 pip stop loss and 30 pip take profit would be better, or better yet 50 if you can. But yeah, 30 is good. I think 30 is good. Yeah, 30 pips will be good. So I'll set that up on my trade manager right now so that I'm ready, because this candle closes in a minute 40 seconds. So 30 pips take profit and 30 pips stop loss, and I'm ready. I'm ready for this trade right here. All right, there goes. So normally after, so here's the other thing to keep in mind. When a death cross or a golden cross is forming, so keep in mind here, we anticipated it to be formed, right? But after it's being formed, like right here, you normally get a retest of that. So if you're getting, so whatever you're getting, whether it's golden cross or death cross, you normally get a retest of the 9 or 200 DMA. So here we got in, this was a sniper entry because we anticipated it coming, and we used our trend line to enter that sell. But after the fact, so after this death cross or golden cross forms, you can always wait for it to actually form. And then normally what happens, you normally get a retest of either the 9 EMA or the 200 DMA. And at that point, you can enter your sell. So I do see another possible sell too, but I'm not going to enter because I'm waiting for EU. So give me 1 second. I do see another sell. So another sell would be on the retest of this zone right here. I'm not going to enter this trade because I already took my profit for this trade. I'm up like 0.3% for the day. So, and I'm waiting for EU. For me, EU has a better probability, but another sell for this one would be a retest of this zone. Just so you guys know. But the only trade we are in is this sell, which is at break even. but we'll analyze how the other sell would go, but I am not entering that trade. Okay, so it retested and closed below. So I will enter an EU sell right now, still risking 0.5%, but I am using a 30 pip stop loss for this trade. And it's actually retesting the 9 EMA and our trend line. The only issue with this trend line is that it's still a hanging trend line on the 5-minute. So if I go to the 1 minute, I'm pretty sure this right here will be a lower high. So on the 1 minute, we'll get, so it's actually a higher high. So on the 1 minute, let me draw this on the 1 minute, which should transcribe to the 5-minute. So on the 1 minute, ideally, it should be established. On the 5-minute, yeah, so on the 5-minute, it's still a hanging trend line because so it's a hanging trend line. Why? Remember, while drawing a trend line, you need a trend line to originate from confirmed structural area or confirmed high-low area and to connect to another high-low area. So this indicator is lagging. So we anticipate. So the reason I call this a hanging trend line is because I'm expecting this zone to be established as a lower high if this trend line is to hold as a static trend line. So for now, let's see what's going to happen. If this candle, 5-minute candle, breaks and closes above this zone, so this trend line ideally will be invalid until we get an established lower high. But right now, I am in that trade with a 30 pip stop loss. I'm still risking 0.5%. Let's see, US 30 refused to come back up, so that's fine. Personally, I did catch the sell signal, so either way, it's a win for me. So if you're still in this trade, you should be out at break even. Trade just came back up to break even. So, and that's ideally the premise of when you are 50% of my trades, if you're 50% in profit, set break even, either set break even and wait, or, and I think based on back testing, we found that not a lot of trades, I think this is the second trade out of maybe 20 that we've taken that has come back to break even. But most of the trades that we take, when you're 50% in profit, set break even, or when you're 50% in profit, secure half and set break even. So take 50% or take 50% of your profits at halfway and set break even, so leaving a runner. So this is just a matter of waiting and waiting. So the only trade I'm in right now is the sell on EU. I'm only risking 0.5%. And I am going for a 30 pip stop loss. So the best thing with this trade is that this trade is protected by this policy. And I like how this price action is going because we're not really getting a break above the trend line. So ideally, our trade is protected by this trend line that's up here. If it's to hold, trade is protected by this supply zone within a supply zone. Trade is protected by the previous weekly high, which is also the next supply zone within a supply zone. And we do have a minimal supply zone above here. So for me, this trade makes sense. If it does hit stop loss, for me, it still made sense as a trade in general. I hate not being able to trade US 30 because that's what I think I am better at. Now, so the same thing that happened yesterday. So look at this, right? I wanted to wait for this trade today. So remember how we entered that trade at 11? So this is literally how the market plays with somebody, right? So this whole time, US 30, other than yesterday when we got taken out of that L, guess the next time the hourly closed, so this was the consolidation, right? But after this push to the upside, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I'm just counting randomly. So for about 12 or 14 hours, this is the first candle, the 10 a.m. candle closed below the 9 EMA on the hourly, right? So based on that strategy, the only issue with this strategy of ours, I think now that I've seen it is if we get this playing out at around 11 a.m. Eastern time, because I think that's when it's ideally not as good. But here, if we're using the same strategy that we got stopped out yesterday, we had this candle, 10 a.m. candle closing below the 9 EMA. So in theory here, all we needed was to wait for the retest of the 9 EMA on the hourly, and this would have been our sell here. This would have been our sell for US 30. And I know I missed that, but it's fine. When it happens next time, we'll catch it. I think for this strategy, let's just not try to catch it at 11, because 11 is subject to a lot of manipulation. So this would have been the trade for US 30 for a sell, and it would actually have made sense because the trend line that I drew got broken. That's number one, right? Got broken by this candle. This candle retested the trend line, retested around the 9 EMA and closed below. So this trade would have lined up the previous hourly candle closed below the 9 EMA after a very long trend to the upside without closing below the 9 EMA. And then we wait for a retest of the 9 EMA on the hourly by a 5-minute candle. And that's how we would have entered that sell. And better yet, we are in an overall sell zone in US 30. US 30 just came from grabbing liquidity from a supply zone within a supply zone. Give me 1 second. Let me see something right here. US 30 markups for today, right? Look at this. So when I send this, and I've gone over this time and time again, when I send these zones to you guys, it's upon you guys to set pending orders, because you could have easily sold US 30, because this right here shows you it's a supply zone. This darker shade of red, it's a supply zone within a supply zone, because the overall supply zone is from here to the bottom here. But within that zone, we have this zone up here, in here, that's a supply zone within this overall supply zone. And then this middle zone right here, that's the darkest shade of red, it's a supply zone within this supply zone that's within this overall supply zone. So in any case right here, when I sent these trades, you guys, and you get the sell signal, you have this supply zone, enter a sell right here on US 30. Look at that. That would have played out amazingly. But anyway, yeah, so we could have, with this other strategy of the hourly, we'll not be applying it at 11 a.m. Eastern time, because I normally stop the live session at 11 Eastern time. And also I did say that between 11 and 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you have a lot of institutional traders just going for their lunch break. So it's ideally just manipulation and consolidation. But this would have been the trade. We missed that, but for next time, we will definitely take this trade so long as it doesn't fall at 11. Currently, the only trade we took was gold. For me, I got out of the whole trade right here around the demand area. I'm already up 0.25 for the day, 0.25% for the day. The only other trade I'm in is the EU trade. Does anybody have any questions regarding anything we've gone over? All right, did anybody catch the sell on gold?
Yep. Do you see another sell for gold? I know something.
So right now, so this death cross did not materialize. So the only sell I do, so keep in mind, personally, I am bullish on gold. I expect gold to go to 2050. But right now, if it's just a short-term sell, let's see what we have. Let's use this channel right here, and let's see. Gold might be going back to the top of that sell channel. So let's see. No, it actually broke above. So given that, interesting. Give me 1 second. Let me do this. Show trend.
Gold is pushing.
Yeah. So gold is in a, so it's picked up bullish liquidity in here. So right now, the only thing I would wait for gold is to establish a lower high. So remember, when I started analyzing gold, what did I say? I said that, give me 1 second. Let me turn this off. I said that we did not have a trend line to the upside. So that was my major issue with a sell on gold anywhere up here. So yes, we were in supply zone. So the only other sell on gold I would wait for on the 1 minute, I would come here on the 1 minute. This trend line, excuse me, I would wait for a lower high or a high to be created here. And in that instance, guess what? This trend line would go somewhat like this, right? And then on the, when you go on the 5 minute, that's, so on the 1 minute, you see a lot of zones created or a lot of high lows created, and they're just consolidating. But if you go on the 5 minute, that's when you'll see the proper direction of a trend line. Because keep in mind, on the 5 minute, we only have a higher high created. So on the 5 minute, in any case, for a sell on gold, we need an establishment of a lower high. And then that's going to be an established trend line, and then we can look for sells on gold. Hopefully the lower high gets created somewhere around here. So hopefully that's the downside. Okay, it's still to the upside. So for gold, hopefully it gets created, lower high on gold gets created somewhere around here. So this trend line on the 5-minute is still hanging because we do not have a lower high. So the best thing would be for this lower high to be created somewhere around here. And then we get something like this, touching that. And wait, we get something like that. And then once this is and a lower high is established around this zone, then we would wait for a retest of any point of the trend line, hopefully aligns with this sell supply zones in here. And at that point, that's the only time I would sell gold. But for right now, there's no need for me to even try and look for any sells on gold until I get a lower high established on the 5-minute. And trust me, when that happens, it will be an amazing trade. So yeah, so for right now, the only trade is this EU trade. I like what I'm seeing for EU, but keep in mind, EU on the hourly, we are heavily bullish. The only good thing about this trade right here is that we are ideally selling at the ideally what we think is the top, right? Because as a trader, you are just anticipating. You don't know when the top, where the top will be or where the bottom will be. So we are better off in this sell right here than anybody who sold, let's say here. If anybody sold right here, even with a 50 pip stop loss, right? The 50 pip stop loss would be within the supply zone that's up here. So we are better off than somebody who sold here. So even here with a 50 pip stop loss, if your stop loss is 50 pips, you're even much better. Yeah, because when EU breaks here, even a person with 100 pip stop loss is going to get stopped out because EU will go to 1.1 if EU is to break the previous weekly high and break this supply zone up here. So for me, this is the most optimal sell we are at around this zone, unless we get a break above and then we get another break below the 9 EMA around maybe this zone or this zone. But for right now, for me, this EU sell makes sense for me. And there goes US 30. So what am I looking for US 30? This trend line to the upside does not make sense to me anymore. So US 30 for me is the same as gold. I'll use this higher high. And I will use this ideally that spot up there, but I need an established lower high to be created. Oh, did we miss a bullish hammer candle? Livy, is this a bullish hammer candle? I kind of saw it, but let me see on my MT4. I'll be
It
so.
look too short on the wick.
Oh, no, yeah, it's not. It's actually a bearish hammer candle. So bearish hammer candles ideally signify either a continuation to the downside or a reversal to the upside. So a bearish hammer candle is a wick where you have a candle where it has a long wick to the bottom, and then the body of the candle is a bearish body with like the ratio, the body is ideally pretty small compared to the wick of the candle. So for this one, the close of the candle was below the open of a candle and the wick was ideally pretty small. But it would have been amazing if we got a bearish hammer candle. Keep in mind, we've had a 100% win rate on every bearish hammer candle trade we've taken on the live session. 2 days ago, we did take, or was it just me? I don't know if it was on the live session or I took it by myself, but no, I think we did.
Yeah, on the live.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
the bearish, talking about the bearish reverse.
Yeah,
candle.
yeah, the inverted bearish hammer candle, yes. And actually we did, well, we did get one up here, but the wick was, for me, I consider the wick to be, I need the wick to be at least 30 pips for me to consider anything a bearish hammer or an inverted bearish hammer or a bullish hammer candle. But this up here, if I take this off, this one is ideally a bearish hammer candle. But for me, keep in mind the way, because my strategies are specific to me, the way I let me see, 921. So the body was only 20 pips. So this is a textbook bearish hammer candle, but to me, it's not a bearish hammer candle that I could trade by itself, because for me, it's actually, my bad, it's an inverted bearish hammer candle. I always need to, so this is the one that's a bearish hammer candle, sort of. And this is an inverted bearish hammer candle. So for me to trade an inverted bearish hammer candle or to trade a bullish hammer candle, the wick needs to be at least 30 pips. So for me, this one, the wick was ideally 20 pips. So for me, it's like if it's not at least 30 pips, I do not take any of those trades. But keeping in mind, we were so in this zone right here, you guys had a lot of confluences, right? US 30 had been in a major uptrend for hours. We got a sell signal. We got a signal in the Discord for a sell on US 30, which was down here at around 9:10 a.m. I had sent up my markups showing that we were in a supply zone within a supply zone here. You get an inverted bearish hammer candle. In any case, literally, if it was me, I could have maybe even taken a 50 lot or 100 lot right here, because you had one confluence signal is one, inverted bearish hammer candle, 2 supply zone within a supply zone, 3. You literally have three confluences just telling you to sell. Let's see, EU, let EU do whatever it wants to do. US 30, I am looking for a sell on US 30. And keep in mind, right here, not really trading with any signals or anything. This is just literally my markups. Signals for me, I don't trade with signals personally, because the way I think about signals, a lot of people expect signals to be 100% win rate. So I don't count any trade, any win from a signal by itself. All the wins or all the trades I take, it has to match either a trend line, 9 EMA, or structure. Signal for me is just to tell me price is likely to head in this direction, because there are people who just and as you guys remember, I was very skeptical about starting to provide signals because I've seen people just expect everything to be winning and winning and winning. So just know, as a disclaimer, if you ever get burnt from signals, it's purely up to you. If you get burnt here on the live, it's ideally also up to you, especially if you're not following proper risk management. So right here, my goal here is just to show you guys how I take trades to mark the charts up for you. If it makes sense for you guys, well and good. If it doesn't, then you don't have to take any trades that I take. So this is not good for our EU trade. Why? Because we now have a candle that closed above the 9 EMA. The next candle retested our position to the pip and then closed above the 9 EMA and closed above this trend line. This current candle is retesting again our entry and is likely closing above the trend line. So this is not good for our EU sell. So just monitor that. At the very least, if this trade goes against us this much and closes above here, you might consider closing this trade out early, because it can just take out this highs. But for me personally, because the trade makes sense to me, I will hold this trade. But you also need to look at what the candles are doing. Keep in mind, most of my entries have been no drawdown, or slight drawdown and heavily into profit. So especially when you're seeing this, let me zoom in, let me take this off, but it's gonna take off the position. So ideally what we are seeing here, price is literally retesting our sell, because our sell is literally right here. So when you see candles doing that, you also just need to start thinking, where is this asset likely to go if it goes against me? But for me personally, I'll still hold that. For US 30, I need a trade that makes sense. I love trading US 30. I do have trend lines on my MT4 to the upside here. So I will look for a sell around this zone right here. But I need a trade that makes sense. But US 30 is 50-50 to me, slightly bullish, slightly bearish. Gold to me is bullish. EU is also 50-50. So gold, let's see what gold is doing. So we need this to be established as a lower high for any other sell on gold. So what we'll do, since this is a hanging trend line, go to the 1 minute. On the 1 minute, I'm pretty sure we'll get a set trend line, a defined trend line. There we go. So we'll come here and get this line. Shift that. I'll just delete it. Connect this high to this high. I hate when prices around all these markups I have, like this shadings. So when we go on the 5 minute, we'll notice that. So ideally, what we are hoping is that, or what we are looking forward to or anticipating, let me not use the word hoping. We are anticipating that this will be a lower high on the 5 minute time frame. So if that's the case, price is currently rejecting from this supply zone. So we might not get another confirmation of a sell until, so if this is to be established as a lower high in future, this can be the move on gold. Now, here you can find an early entry. But if you want a confirmed entry, you need to wait for this to be established as a lower high, and then you wait for the retest of the trend line. Unfortunately, we're not going to get a retest of the trend. The best thing about this zone right here is that right here where we are at on gold lines up with this trend line, even though it's a lagging, a hanging trend line, but it's also within a supply zone within a supply zone. That's the best thing, but here we want to be safe, so better to wait for this to, personally, if I hadn't taken this sell on gold, maybe I would have taken a sell right now, but to be safer, I want this to be established as a lower high, and at that point I'll just wait for price to come back down and retest the trend line on the 5 minute, and then at that point I will sell gold. But right now this is risky because this candle can literally blow up and gold keep trending to the upside. So to be safe, this needs to be established as a lower high, but if you really want to sell gold here, let's see, our stop loss is 50 pips. No, actually, no, do not sell gold. Gold is bullish. For me, gold is, I'm not even going to mark this up for you. I was going to say you can use a 100 pip stop loss, but no, do not. Gold is ideally bullish for now. So that's good. If it's bullish, that's what we want, because we need gold to be bullish and close even above here so that this trend line is established within these supply zones. And then when we get an established lower high, we can wait for the retest of the trend line. And at that point, the trend line should align with some of these supply zones. So do not sell gold right now. Just let gold do whatever it wants to do. I think I missed my US 30. Oh, not yet. That's fine. Yeah, so just leave gold alone. If you didn't take the trade with me, that's fine. We'll catch the next one. Personally, I'm up 0.25% for the day. If this EU trade hits, I should be up 0.75. So this is good. Wow, don't tell me my copier didn't take the gold trade. That is so annoying. So I only made profit on one of my accounts. Wait, I did close that trade, right? This is so annoying. 250. Oh, I just missed out on profit. Okay, it's fine. So my copier did not work for some reason, but it took the EU trade but did not take the gold trade. But it is what it is. But for that I only made money on my main account. So I want US 30 to keep coming back up. I really want, so same thing as US 30. I need an established lower high. I need another lower high to be established so that I can connect it with this higher high. So you can see this trend line is already established because we have a high low, we have a lower low, and you can see price is ideally dancing around that trend line. So this is still a waiting game. And look at that hourly candle on US 30. It's possibly going to form a bullish hammer candle. And today I will be ending the stream early in about maybe 10 or so minutes. So if you guys have any questions, now is the time to ask. You guys should be in profit already for the day from gold. especially if you got out with me, or if you at the very least secured half of this trade, you guys should be in profit. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody have any questions about these signals right here? How to interpret them, how to enter the signals? Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. All right. So in any case, the riskiest thing is not my live trading. The riskiest thing is this signals. A, because I am not there to tell you how to enter. B, because B, it's risky if you do not already know our strategy. So this is why when I ask you guys if you have any questions, you should feel, a lot of streamers don't really allow people to ask questions, and most of them just ideally catch one trade a day or something. Here we've caught, most of the days we catch at the very least 2 trades a day for like 100 pips. So here I don't mind you guys asking questions during the live stream, because we already have our alerts marked up. We know where we're expecting price to go. So, and then when we get a trade, we go in and we make profit instantly. So you, if you're okay knowing how to apply this is the riskiest thing, if you ask me, in this group signals. Because I'm not there to tell you how to enter. B, if you don't already know how to enter. C, if you don't know any of our strategies. So this is why I'm saying this is the riskiest thing in this club right here. But if you guys are good, every morning I go over it, but this is the last week pretty much I'll be trying to go over it in depth, because this week I will be creating videos on each of my strategies and I will share them with you guys. So you guys should have access to those recordings on Monday of next week. And yesterday, I know there's somebody who asked me if I can set up these signals so that, so for example, you get a US 30 buy here, but then the signal also tells you the price at which you're buying, or you should be looking for the buy or the sell. So I talked to my programmer or coder about that, and he said there's no way to do that, because the way the buy and sell alerts are configured is that they're just configured to fire upon, because I've given him parameters upon which this signal should fire. So he said the way the alerts are configured, it cannot fire that way. So I'll do my own independent investigation on that. I mean, I know what he said is definitely smarter than me at programming, but I'm pretty sure there's probably another platform I can use maybe to grab the price point of the signal. So I might have to maybe do even some more scripting in JSON or something for that. But yeah, that's to answer the person who asked me that question yesterday. Yeah, so
Are you still bearish on EU?
am I still bearish on EU? Let us see. Let's see. So EU for me is 50-50. Yeah, right now I'm still bearish. I like this sell right here. I don't like the consolidation happening, especially because it's happening like literally price is coming back to a price point and getting rejected to the upside. The only reason I want to hold this trade is because I'm being protected by this supply zone within a supply zone, this supply zone within a supply zone, and the top of the overall supply zone, which is here. And then up here, we still have the previous weekly high. And then here we also have a minimal supply zone. So if not for those zones up there, I probably would be looking at closing this trade. The other thing that can literally help us or help this trade in this situation is if we get a 5-minute sell signal on EU, because if we go to our signals, I think previously we had an EU buy signal. Like, look at this. We had a buy signal today at 3:45 a.m. So literally this morning, somebody could have caught 3:45 is what, 7 hours ago. So let's look at the hourly chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We had a buy signal somewhere around this candle for EU 721, and the stop loss was 20 pips. So even though you entered on impulse, I know this is the hourly candle, so it was somewhere around this candle. So if you entered a buy on EU this morning, you would have been heavily in profit. But anyway, what I'm looking at, when is the last time we had a sell signal on EU? So we had a buy signal on the 15-minute time frame. So let's keep going. We had a sell signal yesterday night. I want to see the 5-minute. I'm looking for, oh, I forgot. I don't create 5-minute signals on FX pairs. But just going by the 15-minute, and if you guys want 5-minute signals for FX pairs, let me know. But for those, same thing as I said for the US 30, 15-minute and gold 15-minute, I will increase the TP and stop loss. I did notice that the 5-minute buy and sell signals for FX pairs were not didn't have too good of a win rate. But if you guys want them, let me know. I will create them, but I will put their TP and stop loss to be about 40 pips, stop loss 40 pips, take profit. So I can create those two. But anyway, the last signal we had on EU was a buy on the 15-minute. I don't think we've had a sell signal for EU just by visually looking at it. Maybe here or something. But I don't think we've had a 5-minute sell signal for EU in a while. So I'll create
I
the
like the signals you got going now, man.
okay.
If you know it's not gonna work, don't even put it in
Okay.
there.
Okay. So right now the 15, if we get a 15-minute sell signal on EU, that would be amazing. Amazing. Yeah, personally, I do have a 5-minute signal, but that only comes to me, it doesn't come to you guys. Again, I'm trying to just give you guys the best thing. But right now, if we do get a signal pop up, you guys will probably see it on my screen. Yeah, but the
Do you think
signals.
you'll ever entertain crypto Bitcoin signals?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, literally, if you guys want any of those, just let me know. Like, I'm gonna back test. So if you guys tell me I want a signal for, I don't know, AJ, AUD, JPY, or BTC, just let me know. I will go into the charts and then back test the time frames. And then I'll create signals for you. So, but BTC, I expect it to have similar signals as US 30 and gold. So probably the 15-minute time frame. So yeah, if you guys want crypto, just let me
Yeah, the
post it.
only ones I would be interested in is BTC and NAS 100.
Okay, all right. So that's easy enough. So since I already have this platform set, like the platform for me to input signals, literally it's just me going in there and putting in a signal for BTC or whatever you want. Yeah, so I will do that. I will backtest. I'll create a signal for BTC. I will check on the 5-minute and backtest. I doubt the 5-minute is profitable. So probably the 15-minute, maybe the 30. And then you'll start getting those, excuse me. And I'll also create signals for NAS. I do not trade NAS, but I know I told you one of the smartest traders in here, even smarter than me, Steven in here, he likes trading NAS. So I'll also create signals for NAS. Yeah, and then you guys should be getting those. There's probably, no, I don't want to create, because I can create different channels like how I have indices, commodities, but that will just be like for every signal, I have to create like 3 signals so that it comes to 3 different groups. I'll just leave the signals in here as is so that they all just come in one place. And then you can just, if you have the Discord set on, our Discord set to alert your phone, you can just get messages every time. And I think, I don't know if there's just a way to send notifications from one channel on Discord. Maybe you can do that on your phone. But I know, like for us, we're not in one of those Discords that everybody just keeps texting each other and you get like 1,000 alerts. So let's see what we have here. Yeah, EU, this is just weird. I don't like what it's doing. I don't like the way it's testing. So the only time I would look to cut my EU sell is if it closes above the previous weekly high. At that point, I can think of cutting this sell. But keep in mind, our stop loss is 30 pips. That is literally, that is being conservative. A lot of traders have like a 50 pip stop loss on most of their trades. So this is actually conservative. I'm only risking 0.5%. So keep in mind, I'm up already 0.25% from the gold sell that we took. So for any gold sell, wait for the creation of a lower high here. No need to chase any sell. So this trend line is still a hanging trend line. So until, and this is what I personally, I want gold to even go up here so that we get an established lower high. And guess what? By the time the lower high is established, price will be around this zone. And then at that point, I just need to wait for the retest of the trend line around this area or even around this area. So that makes more sense to me for a sell, and I would be comfortable selling when a trend line is established around this area. But right now, when a trend line is established here, you see we don't have a lot of wiggle room. I mean, we can possibly get a sell down here, but this is tricky because for me, when I'm selling, especially right now, when gold is away from a lot of markups, like bearish zones and bullish zones, like I want this trend line to align with a supply zone or a demand zone. So yeah, so for gold to be safe, wait for an established lower high on the 5-minute and then look for a sell. US30 the same. I'm so pissed about US30. I did make money from the signal, but if only we can get an established lower high. That is the only reason I haven't taken any sell on US30. Personally, I do have trend lines right here that are holding price down. But I really don't want to force any trades. One of my new things nowadays is to just stick to my strategies. Like if something doesn't make sense, like there's no need for me to chase price. Yeah, so literally I'll just wait for it. EU is the only trade I'm in. As much as I don't like this price movement, I still like it because as much as price is retesting our entry and going back up, it's also coming back down to our price. The worst thing is for price to keep retesting our entry and then keep trending to the upside. That is not, that is what we don't want. But so long as price is consolidating and testing our entry, I'm fine with that. So long as price sticks to this zone, or price sticks in this range right here, where is that? So long as price sticks in this range right here, this is fine for me for my sell. The only issue would be it breaks above, where is that? It breaks above this zone because definitely it's consolidating, retest the consolidation and trends up. This is the worst thing that can happen to our EU sell right now. So just keep in, at the point where I would say start reconsidering to get out early of this trade is if price, so we do have a previous weekly high around, oh, also it's a drawing, so it's going to disappear. So we do have a previous weekly high here around 1.09291. So if price closes, breaks above and closes above here and retests and closes above, this is the only time I would say consider exiting early. And at that point, this trade would be, what's the stop loss? Around then, the trade would be at around, not even 20 pips. This is 15 pips. So this is, for me, this is a perfect trade. In any case, I would look to be holding this trade, this sell for longer, because look at where 20 pips is. 20 pips is even higher than the previous weekly high. So this right here around where the previous weekly high is maybe 15 pips. Yeah, it's around 15 pips. So for me, this trade actually makes sense, and I may actually even hold it longer than 30 pips. But that's the only time I would ask you guys to consider closing this trade out is if breaks above this consolidation, retests, trends above, and breaks and closes above this previous weekly high. That's the only time I would say close early for like minus 15 pips. But right now, in any case, I might even increase the take profit for this trade for like 50 pips. Yeah, but this trade for me makes sense. Gold, again, wait for gold for a lower high to be established on gold. US30, the same thing. Wait for a lower high to be established so that you can connect this trend line to that lower high. Does anybody have any questions? I'll have to end the stream early today. We had an amazing win for gold. Either you got stopped out at break even, or you secured 50% and left a runner for 50%, or you exited the full position with me, because personally I exited here at, what was this, 1967 to 1963. I exited at about 35 pips. So I'm up like 0.25% for the day. So I told you guys, like for me today, I'm so sure there's a lot of people that have blown accounts. So I told you guys, if you end today at break even, you did amazing. If you end today with a small win like me for 0.25%, we did amazing, because I've been in groups. I've seen other signal providers that have just been trying to call a sell for EU since we got our buy signal right here. And I know people got burnt yesterday. If you kept increasing your stop loss for our US 30 trade, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. Just follow our strategies and you'll be golden. Let me go ahead and record our gain for the day. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask right now as I do this. So person.
I have a question about the signals. For example, what would you consider as other confluences other than the retest of the 9 EMA when the signal gets sent out?
Okay, I'll go over that shortly. Let me just record that. So based on our strategy, so keep in mind, I don't record what I make here. I record what the signal or the trade that I take on the live and following the strategies. So for this right here, that trade for gold, 0.5% risk. Ideally, we should have secured half. That is the strategy at this zone, either secure half or secure break even. So when you're securing half right here, we would have been up ideally 0.125, no, half, around half. This is 600, 300, 0.13. So personally, I am up 0.25 for the day, but based on the strategy, only up 0.13. So keep in mind, if you've taken every trade with me since Monday, you would have been up 2.63% for the week. On Monday, we had a 0.875% return. On Tuesday, 1.25%. Wednesday, which was Wednesday was yesterday, 0.375% return. Today we have a 0.13% return. So you'd have been up 2.63%. So yesterday, we would have, initially we were up 0.875, but that loss at the end of the day just brought whatever down. So that's why I want to taking that one trade at 11 a.m. To answer your question before I leave, what are the confluences? So if I get a signal, right? So if you're saying right here, I get a gold sell. So other than the retest of the 9 EMA, what would I look at? Okay. Let me use today's US 30 sell that came up at 9:10 a.m., right? So we got on US 30, let me hide everything. This is US 30. So we had a sell signal, I think here. So we had this sell signal, we had a buy, and then we had a sell. And then I told you guys, if you used our confluences, you'd have only had the loss for the buy. But you'd have had a win for the sell here and a win for the sell here, because literally if you waited for this sell signal, if you waited for the retest of the 9 EMA, you'd have survived this drawdown. Hopefully I am looking to, so two major things are coming up down the pipeline. I'm not going to tell you guys about the one I'm thinking about, but the other one that I can tell you guys about is that I am looking to have the signals so that when a signal gets fired, price waits for, or I think maybe it's going to be an EA or something or whatever. When we get a buy or sell signal, you do not get the signal yet. You only get the signal when the 9 EMA is retested on that time frame. So that's going to be one of the major things that's going to help us a lot. The other thing I'm not going to tell you guys, but it's going to be a major game changer. But hopefully in future I can do that. But right now, let's just use the US 30 sell. So we had this sell, you could have survived if you used our confluences. This buy, you could have been taken out even though you waited for our retest of the 9 EMA. So for this sell signal, right, what are the confluences could I have waited for? So at this point, and if I draw this, they're going to come back. Okay. So at this point, I could have had a trend line. Let me do this. Give me 1 second. I can do a new chart or something. No, it's fine. I'll just do it visually. Just follow along. So we had a sell signal right here on this candle, right? So literally, we normally say wait for the retest of the 9 EMA. And then don't even wait for a closure above or below. Just wait for the retest of the 9 EMA on the time frame when the signal has been given, and then literally get into the sell or the buy. So that is how we do it. What other confluences can I use? A trend line, right? More than likely, you like here we already don't even have a trend line to the downside on US 30. So more than likely, you're not going to have a trend line. The other confluences, like if it was this morning, if the signal comes before New York, just go to the owner's area, either indices or commodities, depending on what signal you've gotten. But for me, my analysis are only for US 30, EU, and gold, right? So for example, US 30 today, you got a sell signal in here. So this was another confluence, right? You got a sell signal that's within a supply zone, within this supply zone, that those two supply zones are within this overall supply zone. So for me, that's another confluence for a sell. What's another confluence for a sell, right? Just visually looking, go to the hourly chart on US 30. US 30 has been trending up since we got stopped out yesterday on that buy. US 30 has been held by the 9 EMA for the last 14 hours. Right? As much as something goes up heavily or goes down heavily, you're going to have some sort of retracement. So you're better off selling at that point where you already have a signal confluence, you have a supply zone confluence. Here we did not have a trend line, but you have a 9 EMA confluence, and then you have the trend line, the 9 EMA confluence on the higher time frame, if that makes sense. So either way, if not so these things will never change, right? If not the 9 EMA, the entries are always either, give me one quick second. Just 1 second. So my confluences will never change. Well, maybe in future, but my confluences are always either trend line, EMA, trend line, 9 EMA, structure. By structure, I mean a high-low period. So you could have waited for a retest of even this lower high that was established. So always keep those three in the back of your mind. Retest of 9 EMA, retest of structure, retest of trend line. For the signal entry, I only say just wait for the retest of the 9 EMA. Don't even care whether it closes above or below, depending on what direction the signal is. But if you want to add those other two confluences, whichever gives you the most optimal entry. So for this cell right here, the most optimal entry would have been retest, or because we didn't have a trend line, no trend line had been formed on the 5-minute. So the only other confluence would have been this one, structure. So where's the next structure? The next structure is this lower high. So this was the optimal cell right here. I'll just delete that, just follow visually. So the most optimal cell, when we get the cell signal right here, wait for the retest of the 9 EMA, that would be just using the one confluence. Now, if you wanted a better sell, remember we always want to sell high and buy low. The next confluence, you don't have any trend line because this trend line would have been a hanging trend line, so it wasn't established. So the next established zone is this lower high. So you can wait for a retest of the lower high. So in this case, you could have just waited and waited for this retest of the lower high, and then you enter the sell there, you write the sell downs. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing to keep in mind for the signals, they move heavily, right? So when you get a signal, more than likely, you're not even, in some instances, you're not gonna get a retest of the 9 EMA. Sometimes price will just shoot straight into profit and hit take profit. So you always want to weigh, like, do I want to be safe? So you don't even have to use a 50 pip risk right here, right? So you can, if you want to hop in on impulse, you can get in here, you get a sell for US 30. And then you say, I don't have time to wait for the next buy or sell. No, I don't have time to wait for the 9 EMA or whatnot. So you tell yourself, instead of using 50 pips, I'm going to risk the same amount, but increase my stop loss to maybe 70 pips. So instead of, if you're entering with a 5 pip, with a 5 lot, and you want to risk the same amount, but increase the stop loss. So maybe you do 70 pips, take profit, 70 pips stop loss. Instead of a 5 lot, you maybe go for a 3 lot. So literally you're risking the same amount, but because you don't have time to analyze when the confluences are or where the confluences are, use a bigger stop loss and bigger take profit and lower your lot size. Yeah. So hopefully that makes sense.
All right.
Thank you.
Perfect.
So in terms of risk management, I see on the signal page, it's all one-to-one risk management. Is that correct?
Yes, for the signal page. Yep. And I love when because I've automated this, because personally, you guys saw, like, for this gold sell right here, right? For me, when I'm trading this way, I wasn't going to wait for this whole take profit, because I see this coming here, the demand. So the best thing with this signals is set and forget. So if it hits take profit, well and good. If it hits stop loss, well and good. I showed you guys the screenshot this morning. The win rate was amazing. Even for these two trades, because I have that account taking all those trades back to back. So personally, I did hit stop loss for this one and this one, but I did hit a win for this one, and I think it just entered. So there you go, another lower high. But anyway, yes, it is 1-to-1. Even though you take every signal on impulse, at the end of the day, you'll have a good win rate. To have a better win rate, use your own confluences, and you'll have a better win rate than people who take the signals on impulse. To have maybe even a safer win rate, increase the stop loss and pips by like 20 or 10 pips above what is shown here. Decrease your lot size and risk the same amount, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and is the signal when it shows either the LL or the HL sign?
No. The signal just, no, it's not that. So the signal is based on trend. So the high lows, these are just structure areas. So those are
Okay,
not
yeah.
signals. Yeah. But I literally have to go right now. If anybody has any questions, feel free to send them in the Discord or DM me. But I just have to end the session now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's see what's happening with EU. Amazing. This is what I want to see. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm holding this trade, maybe even going for 50 pips, take profit and not 30. But this is what I want to see. Our take profit is slightly above the 30-minute bullish high. So EU might reverse to the upside once it reaches here, but we should be golden for this sell. I'm risking 0.5% for this trade. So if I win this trade, I'll be up 0.75%. So it's all a numbers game. Just trust the analysis. I don't say trust me, I'm saying trust the analysis. Myself and the analysis are two different things. If I wasn't trading live with you guys, I would just be out here using 100 lots and 50 lots. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same day, same day. And then we kick off. So we've had a win for every day of the week. So see you guys tomorrow for an amazing day. Hopefully we get a return of 0.5% for the day, and then we end like 4 days for like 3.1% return. Amazing week so far. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Nice one, take care.
All right.